Okay, we'll call the meeting to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It was a week and a half or two ago, the district did lose one of our employees, Russell Sheehan, and we wanted to just take a moment of silence, and we've also put his information up on the screen for those to see. So we'll do a moment of silence now. Okay, thank you all. Russell will be missed. He did some absolutely incredible work in the trails and up at Riley Park, and very sad to see him go. Okay, we'll take roll. It appears everyone is present. Lisa is available via internet today. Are you able to hear us okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Okay. Any additions to the agenda? Anything new? No? Okay, we'll move to approval of the consent agenda. Any discussion, questions about the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we move forward with it.
Make a motion to approve?
Yeah, motion to approve it.
Okay.
Seconds.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We'll move to our public participation. We'll just go right down the list here. First, we have Jim Booker. And if you want to go over to the mic there so we can hear you.
My name is James Booker. I visit the Riley Trail System about once per week. That trail network and the land it sits on is an incredible resource for all of us, for the community, and one that I treasure along with my wife. While I'm a member of the Sherwood Park and Recreation Advisory Board, I'm here solely as an individual speaking for myself today. I walk on the land myself with my wife, with my family and friends, and sometimes I even attempt some feeble jogging until the hills get to me. That's the end of that. It's all wonderful, and I want to commend everyone who has had a hand in making this park available to all of us. With the Riley Master Plan back on the agenda and the changes in use which are evident since last summer, it's time to look forward, and that's what I'm intending to do here, is to look forward. I want to draw your attention to the evolving trail conditions at Riley. Quite simply, for purposes of walking, the trail conditions are deteriorating. I've emailed the board with details and expect that will be part of next month's meeting packet. But the summary is this. What was last summer smooth and wonderfully even surfaces of all of the major trails that were good for all sorts of sauntering and easy walking are becoming broken and uneven, changing the pedestrian experience, and not for the better. More immediately, brushing of the single tracks has been neglected and their tread is even more rapidly deteriorating, especially on the steeper hillsides. The formerly signed walking-only trails are mostly completely overgrown now and are not shown on the paper maps that are now being distributed. Those same trails are included on the master plan. please, please, please give the dominant use at Riley the attention that it deserves and that it needs. The park needs it now, and it will more and more need that attention for walking, its most dominant use for the future. Thank you.
Okay, next we have David Helly. Eddie?
Hello. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I have lived, David Hetty, live right over by the high school here in Newburgh. Been here about 4 years. And, you know, as I was exploring a place to live with my wife, who is a native Oregonian, one of the things that drew me to Newburgh, other than it being a small town and a good school system, was access to recreation. And so I came over here, we explored towns about 30 minutes from where we were living. I came over here and actually visited Riley Park and hiked those trails with my children and was very excited about the opportunities for recreation. And being a cyclist for 25 years, it was something that drew me to Newburgh. This may sound a little funny to some, but I probably would not have chosen to move to Newburgh without access to cycling trails, because I use cycling trails around twice a week. And so I was up at Riley Park 2 times every week before it was banned. I think it was last October. I am a CPRD basketball coach. I coach Newburgh Youth Soccer, and for a living I do community engagement for a national, actually international affordable housing organization. I participated in the community planning work over at the Cultural Center and was excited to be able to share my voice with other users, people on horses, walkers, bicyclists, and was really excited about the opportunity for all of us to come together on shared use trails. I've used trails walking and biking many times and with horse riders, and I've never really had significant challenges. It's actually been pleasurable, the relationships you can build with other users. I would say that it was very discouraging to me as somebody involved in community engagement that to share my voice at that level and then to come to a meeting where bicycles were banned after all the good work and discussion. That was extremely challenging. There's a lot of disengagement from local planning and governments, and I think it's because a lot of distrust comes through poor community engagement, where we say we're going to do one thing and something else happens. So I would just like to request, would you all please consider, before you finalize your master plan, of re-engaging with people like me that are local, that like to be able to use their bicycle on the trails, that will do it with respect and care for other users. In lieu of that, you had mentioned that there would be some exploring of other trails. I've done some of that work. I personally haven't found anything suitable for another place to ride here. I can drive 30 to 45 minutes to find a place. Just want to say I'm committed to working with you all. I am here. I plan on spending a long time here in Newburgh, and I want to work with whomever I can to really find a sustainable solution that will work for everybody. So thank you so much.
Okay, next we have Bob Freshman.
Hi, my name is Bob Freshman. I live up near the Bob and Krista Riley Park and have been fortunate enough to walk there long before as a park for about 24 years. Get to know the Riley family as well. But what I'd like to mention is just, I know Matt mentioned about Russ and how we all appreciate the work he's done. And truly, many of the trails that are there wouldn't be there without all the work that Russ did. And a suggestion I would have to honor Russ and the work he's done up there would be 2 things. One would be, it would be great if we could name at least one of the trails in his honor. And another suggestion is a memorial bench that could be up there where people could see, know who Russ was, what he did for the park, and something that would be there for years to come. So that would be my suggestion to the board. I've talked to some other people, and it seems to be that a consensus of people would like to do that. Last thing is, I would like to see, this may be in the master plan, but what, if any, progress is happening in terms of the new signage that we've been talking about for a few months now, in terms of the trail signage and some of the other signage that really is important to helping people enjoy the park. And there has been some progress in terms of signs for the horse parking area and so forth that are appreciated, but there's still quite a few that need to be done. And as I mentioned before, I'm happy to help with anything to do with trail signage, trail mapping. I'm pretty sure walked every square inch of the park over the years, so I am familiar with the trails. So thank you guys very much.
Okay, last we have Keena Ramsey.
Hi, my name is Keena Ramsey, and I just wanted to share, someone had asked me to do this a couple meetings ago, but I was out of town, I'm sorry. And I was going to print up some information. My printer's dying. Always happens, right? This is, pardon? I live actually down in Wilsonville, but I've been riding the park with my horse and hiking with my dog since 2013.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that there is a new mountain bike park that's being put in. It's called Panther Creek Trail Project. And that's what this was going to be. It's just, you can kind of read it, but you can pull it up on the internet. And it is Cycle Yamhill County that is working with, I think it's a multitude of different entities. One is Tillamook National Forest, one is the ODF, and BLM. And they have donated land, and it is going to be open next spring. And there's going to be at least 25 miles of bike trail. And it's quite extensive. This is 8 pages that I was going to provide for everybody, but printer died. Sorry. I apologize for that. So it's a huge project. It sounds like it's going to be even bigger than Sandy Ridge. So they're trying to say it's going to be a world-class mountain bike trail system. So we do have something that's within a half an hour of Newburgh that's going to be open next spring. I don't know. This is next spring. And I just wanted to say that I have really appreciated all the work Russ did also on the trails. And again, the east side would not be even in existence if Russ hadn't, really taken it under his wing, unless somebody equally good as Russ could have done that. And I think a lot of the equestrians have really appreciated all the work that has been done. And I personally have not seen deterioration of any of the trails. In fact, I have been really happy to see some of the trails more open, and I don't know if we have somebody coming in with a tractor or brush hog. My husband said he would volunteer to do some driving if we need some volunteers to help keep the trails open. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to provide comment too, or?
No,
No land donations, just BLM land.
Right.
Yeah, it's this.
Yeah, about 45 minutes maybe.
Where's this out of?
It's in the
Carl?
Trask.
Yeah, but like
Coast Range.
between Carlton and
Yep.
Midville kind
Mhm.
of. And I think it's still, I don't believe it's a certain thing yet.
It's not. They're really hopeful. Yeah, we're a part of Cycle Yamhill County, and it's not final yet. So.
Okay.
But it is far away. It's not within our area. That's something you might be able to do on the weekend, sort of thing, but really difficult to head over there.
One thing that was mentioned, if staff can look into something with respect for Russ, whether it be some sort of way to memorialize either a trail, name, bench, I'm sure there's a lot of different ideas, but I don't know if staff's already begun consideration of that, but that's something that I know I personally would be in favor of. I don't know if anyone
Yeah,
else has any
yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah, I would second that, especially a bench, I think would be a great idea. So,
Yeah, I agree. Something that we could put up there to honor him. He did a lot of work
Yeah.
up there. He's a good guy.
So if you all can just bring us something back in the next couple months. Yeah.
We'll do it.
Okay, perfect.
Can I get you guys to be a little bit closer to your mic?
you got it, Richard.
For sure.
I'm gonna be eating this mic pretty soon.
Okay, well, we'll now move into the action items portion of the agenda. The first item is superintendent search, and so I think I'll provide a little bit of background on this. Don has announced his retirement as of June 2025. I think I got that right. So I don't know if you want to say anything before we begin the discussion item at all, or
No.
no? Okay. So just so no one's confused why we're discussing a superintendent search, that is the reason. And so I'll go ahead and open it up, and I'll let you provide the background, because it looks like you have some thoughts and some information in here for us.
What I did was I put in some questions you might ask and some rough time guideline. Also, I put in SDAO letter. I would probably recommend that the board go with SDAO in this superintendent search to work with them. I think it would benefit the district. They're more than reasonable. Their cost is, I believe, not to exceed $6,000. Most searches cost $25,000 to $30,000. That's a little exorbitant, but I'll leave that up to the board tonight. If someone wants to make a motion to include special districts, then we can get that process going.
Lisa, I don't see you on the screen. I know you are our, I think what's the word? The
Personnel committee.
Personnel committee liaison. So I'll let you begin the board discussion with any of your thoughts, and then I'm sure we'll all have something to say. But you go first.
All right, thank you, Matt. First of all, Don, I don't know how we could ever thank you for the number of years that you've been doing this, but more importantly, for all of the resources that this community has. We wouldn't have it if it wasn't for you. So more than anything, thank you for everything you've given to this community. I will always remember you forever, because I feel just very fortunate to live here because of these resources. I do agree with Don. I think hiring someone like SDAO, who is, it's a state parks district group that has probably more resources than anybody else on finding somebody to replace Don. At my own office, we're looking to replace some director level people, and it is costing $30,000 to do so. So it's $6,000. It's a definite deal. I also think that it provides some professionalism and knowledge that we maybe don't have on this board. I think all of us have little pieces of information, but do we have the time as well? So I really would encourage, or I would even entertain making that motion after everybody's talked. I think that we need to do a search. It is because of all the work that Dawn and the staff have done, we have a large district with a lot of amenities. And I think that we need to respect that and open that up to a large group. It's been almost 40 years since we've had to have even this kind of a discussion. So again, Dawn, thank you for everything you've done for this district. thanking all the staff as well. And it will be hard to fill your shoes.
Okay, any other discussion? I'm assuming we'll have quite a bit. You want to go next?
Well, yeah, I just, I'm not gonna say, I don't wanna make it sound like you're leaving tomorrow, because you'll be with us for a while, but I am glad that we are not waiting, for 6 more months before we start our search. So I think it's imperative that we begin the search sooner than later, because I would absolutely like to have you here when this new person starts, so. And the other thing is I realize that we're gonna get a great big pool. I would love it to be somebody that is part of this community, somebody that knows about what's going on here. I don't know how possible that is, but I would like somebody who's got skin in the game here. So, versus somebody from New York or New Jersey or who knows.
Remember, Don was from Georgia.
Yeah, we're not taking any
help
more
us here,
Georgians.
okay?
I was about as far away as you can get.
Right. I'm just kidding about that, Georgia. Anyways,
Yeah, several things. I've been on some interview panels for different local entities in the past, and I think, you know, Don has developed this into a pretty amazing park district with the minimum amount of money we've had, and I know that he's put in hundreds and hundreds of hours. But because Don's and the staff have put in so many hours in the past, I think this is going to be very, how do I put this, attractive to folks that are in this professional field throughout the country. I understand that you talk about skin in the game, but I also look at it from being having a degree in recreation management, as well as Don, and understanding the intricacies of this job. You know, I think that it's really important that we get a person that has done this type of work, understands recreation, has degrees in recreation administration or business administration or something close to it. I think that's really important because, in my opinion, and I'm sure you agree with me, this is a gym, not me, but a GEM in this area. And I want to make sure that we get the best person to do the job, really no matter where they come from. It'd be great if we have someone local, but I do think because of the intricacies of this operation, be it golf, be it aquatics, be it parks, be it, you know, horseback riding, whatever, there's a lot here. And with that said, I did a little bit of homework because of some of the folks I know out in the field about doing interview process, and I sent some of that to you, and I know that it's here, and Kat's going to put it online of examples of folks that do these headhunting searches and so on and so forth, and I know that Tualatin Hills, when they did their general manager over there, I think it was close to $30,000 to hire him through a headhunting company. But I also showed you, and you can see the example, the River Road Park District used STAO to search for their new, it's either superintendent or director there down in Eugene. So I think that we need to bring someone in to look over what Don has written and what we perceive the superintendent should be and the responsibilities that that person should have. And have them sit down with our board and talk about how we want to do this in a meeting with the board. And, the meeting would have to be public, I think, that first meeting, but that's just my recommendation. But I know that this is going to be such an important position for the communities that we serve that, like the past board did with Don, they did their due diligence and searched out a person that could do good work and understood recreation and politics to a point. And so I'd like to, that's my two cents on this. So I'd like to look to have special districts, SDAO approach us and go through the search process.
So what you're saying specifically is use SDAO, but do a work session with the board and SDAO.
Initially, to make sure that we understand how they want to lay this out. And if we have any questions or the public has any questions, it's all above board. And then after that, to give you an example, if we have 60 applicants apply, I'm not sure any of us want to go through all those applicants. But SDAO will look at them and screen them and go from there. So you need to be ready for that because this is a very, this is a position that a lot of folks in the recreation field would love to have. And living in Oregon, as Don came from Georgia, this is a great place to be. So that's my recommendation is to bring them on, have them meet with us, and then they're not to exceed 6,000 is their price tag.
So we're end of August now. Are you thinking doing a meeting sometime in the middle of September, in the middle of October, between the regularly
I think
scheduled meetings?
I don't want to rush this, but I do think the sooner, personally, I don't want to rush this, but I do think the sooner that we get started, the better. So I would say mid-September. I'm going to be gone out until the 13th.
So we should do it on the 12th, you think?
Yeah, while I'm in flight, sure. Yeah. But anyway, that's my recommendation is that we talk with them. And
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt just real quick?
Yes.
So I'm going to be gone for most of October. I'll be here for the board meeting, but prior to that, I will be out of town. So if we could do it in September, I would appreciate it. If you're going to do a separate meeting for it, because I probably won't be here otherwise.
Okay.
so if we go mid-September,
Mid-September is perfect.
Mid-September. I'm all for that.
Yeah,
You-
I'll make it work.
I'm good with that too.
Kat, can you send us one of those magical emails where we vote on
Indeed.
days and times?
So, but we may have to hire SDAO first, right? 'Cause we
Right,
don't
you'll have to
SDAO.
contact them first and then, yeah. Okay.
I have a question on this.
Yep.
I don't really know how headhunting works. And I love Jim's enthusiasm for how excited people are going to be to apply for this. But in my field, the staffing shortage is insane. So I'm a little bit less optimistic. It makes me a little bit nervous to have just, like, I love the $6,000 and the idea that, we could spend a whole lot more than that. But I would like to do what we need to do to cast our net as wide as possible. I mean, I'm not saying put an ad on Craigslist, but maybe we do put an ad on Craigslist. I mean, I want to, if we're going to make this our primary focus, I want to have other nets as well.
My understanding is SDAO their advertisement is a national based search,
Okay.
right?
right.
I think,
It'll go out on the NRPA as well as ORPA and different organizations, professional organizations. So that'll be done.
okay.
And I think if you review some of the stuff that I sent you from other district searches, you can see the amount of information that we're going to have to gather from whoever that person is that we're selecting. So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, Gail, it has been my experience that at the level that we're talking about, there's a lot more interest than you will get in not as high a level as this is going to be.
Okay, that's
So I
encouraging.
think that you're going to end up with a lot of interest in this position.
And I agree. I think, Dawn, you've done such an incredible job leaving us in a good financial position. We have a number of projects going on. I think that there's going to be a lot of excitement. So I think we'll probably get more applications than we can handle. So,
I
yeah.
believe you'll get a lot of applications.
Yeah.
I came from an agency to here. I think the time I came here, we had, what, Jim, maybe 8 employees or 12? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like,
It was small. The agency I came from had 240 something, and I ran that agency. The question was, why would I come to a smaller agency? And I remember the headhunters asking me that, and it was very simple. It was a family situation. That's where my family wanted to be. For me, it's where I hung my hat. I've been accused of trying to grow an empire, and they're correct. I did. We only had maybe 4 or 5 parks, very few, maybe 60 acres of land. So we have really expanded, but we've done it reasonably with the taxpayers in mind. And we were way in front of all the agencies in Oregon and the nation in that we went with basic and special services. And we started a long time ago. Jim was part of that, so was Mark. And at the time, we didn't announce it because people didn't even know what the hell it was. And so we just did it. And it was much easier back then to do it. The concept was basic service would be paid by the taxes that we had. I asked the community to pass a tax base. They did it. I promised them when they passed that tax base what I'd do. We not only did what we promised, we did much more than what we promised. But we knew that that tax base was crucial. We didn't have it. They stepped up to the plate. I want to say that the only thing I've done these 30 years is not get in the way with bureaucratic crap. I tried to stay out of the way, let the community, and there were many people that was responsible for everything that we got. And without those people, we wouldn't be there. And when you close the door, when you become so bureaucratic that you close the door, you don't get any place. And when I came here, this room would not have held the group that I'd interviewed in front of. It was 100 or so people. It was packed up at the old, what do you call it, community center?
yeah, community center in a second.
Yeah, and it was very controversial. Everybody was mad. We were the first agency in Yamhill County to pass out cookies and coffee and have refreshments. No government did it. We did it. The reason I did it was I was taught a long time ago by an old administrator, when people are eating, they're happier and they're not as mad. As a matter of fact, I remember one of the meetings, the gentleman told me, quit passing out the cookies. Damn it, I want to be mad. Do you understand? And it was kind of a compliment, but he was upset and angry. And I think we tried to treat the public with respect. The public has definitely treated us with respect. And that's been where we have developed what we have. There's always disagreements, and there will be. But anyway, I'll end there.
Well, no one's been angry since that cookie thing, right? So,
I've got one last thing.
Unfortunately, they have.
I have one last thing for the board is that, our responsibility as elected officials is basically, one of them is to hire the new superintendent. And so it's our job to make sure that we work with SDAO and not Don run. He's going to offer advice, but it's going to be our responsibility to do the hiring and work with the folks that are doing the search. So with that said, after we meet with SDAO, we may have to have 2 or 3 people on the board. There are 2 people on the board, but a lot of this, again, is going to be public. And we need to make sure the public understands how we're doing all this, so.
And I want to say that I set a date. I intend to go with that date. But should the board get into a problem where you can't make a decision, I will stay until the replacement is here. I think I don't think you're going to have a problem, but if you do, I'm not going to leave this district, put too much hard work into it. So, till a person comes on board.
And when it is that last day, like my last day, it's hard to walk out, and you'll see the same thing. It's hard to leave behind what you built, but you've done a great job, Don. So thanks.
I didn't build it. It's
Okay.
going to be easy for me because people in the community built it.
I stand
just
corrected. It's still going to be
didn't
difficult.
I didn't get in the way. I tried to stay out of the way and let things happen and give creative entrepreneurs the ability to do. I tried to not take sides and support one group or another group. I tried to include all groups and provide a way. That's where the key to anything is. It's working together and learning how it's easy to fight. I'll be honest. It's not hard to be angry and fight, but it's very hard to get along. You all know with your own personal relationships, to get along is difficult. And that's where the challenge lies, and that's where success or non-success develops.
Okay.
Given that, Matt, can I make a motion that we hire SDAO as the search group for the new executive director or superintendent?
Yeah,
I'll second that.
motion made and seconded, and I'm going to just provide just a little piggyback to that, which is we'll direct staff to work with SDAO to get a work session scheduled for all of us. So secondary to that, but a motion made and second. Any other discussion about using SDAO? No? Okay. All those in favor? Say aye. Those opposed? Okay.
One question. You as a board may meet in executive session to do this. Again, you may be able to do that, but I would recommend that you not. That you keep it as open and as transparent as possible so the public can see it. It may cause you some votes down the road, but it may also gain you a lot of votes.
I think SDAO also lined that out in the information they sent us. They said public. So I
Yes.
think that we should go with that, and they're the ones that would know. So yeah,
I would agree.
Okay. Well, our next issue is Jim, you're going to take it. It's regarding project planner. Jim also did provide some updated information. that
Yeah,
was
and I'm going to
left
go
with
ahead
us
and
today.
read it
Okay.
so people know what I'm talking about here. So it is
Okay.
goes public, and then Kat will put this in our minutes anyway. So when I left CPRD in 2018, I had a difficult time coming back on this board and being able to separate myself from day-to-day operations and just being involved with policy and or hiring the superintendent. Basically those two things. But I do keep kind of an eye out for the public, due to my experience, to see where the needs may be. And so I mentioned to Don, and we went back and forth on this, but I felt that we need to look into hiring a CPRD parks planner or project manager position. And the reason is, I'll explain now. So the definition of this person would be, serves as a project manager, planner, or subject matter expert in the planning and management of capital improvement and SDC grant projects, including project design, permitting of parks, trails, structures, and recreational facilities. Perform professional and technical planning activities in assigned areas of responsibility, including required state and local documentation/reporting, and represents the Park District at community meetings and public events concerning that. So our pending projects right now are Sanders Park, Rennie Park, the bypass trail, pickleball construction that we're working on right now that we've met with some folks, golf course bathroom on the back nine?
Front nine.
Front nine, cultural center sidewalks, Ewing Young Bridge, Ewing Young permanent bathroom, future golf course clubhouse, campground, and I'm sure I've left some things up the list. There is a lot on this list, and when I was doing these projects, I'd have one at a time, maybe two. Don took the golf course, and I took everything else, is basically how it worked. So there was a lot. There wasn't as much then, but there's a lot now. So the rationale is staff seem to be overwhelmed with these projects due to the work responsibilities, their regular work responsibilities. In order to move projects along to meet deadlines, file appropriate documentation, i.e. our grants, I think a change is needed. The district has 4 grants in process right now, over $1.5 million worth. Or more than that, almost a little over $2 million. With a new superintendent being considered, our current retiring superintendent will be impacted with the transition. Also, with a newly hired superintendent having projects delegated to a project manager, he or she can concentrate on the administration of the district when he or she comes on board. So with that said, I'm involved with the state on some of these grants. I'm on the committees serving some of these grants. And a lot of the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant for Sanders Estate Park. The Land and Water Conservation Fund grant manual section 5.2 states, project sponsors have 12 months from the date of authorization to begin substantial work. The award of contracts or completion of at least 25% of the work if done by force account. Projects not conforming to this schedule will be canceled. Projects must complete and build within 2 years of project authorization. Now, this is for land and water conservation. This is having to do with the state of Oregon and the federal government. So the notice to proceed for Sanders Park was 6/13/23. Completion date required is 5/31/25. Local Government Grant Program, Sanders Estate, Local Government Manual is the next grant. The notice to proceed dated for the LGGP grant, the Local Government State Grant for Sanders Park was 6/13/23. Completion date is 12/3/24. And the local government grant for Rennie Park that we have not officially received but verbally said it's coming is another grant that's going to be on board that we need completed in the same type of duration. The problem with the grant that comes with the federal government, some of these can be extended, but it's going to have to go back to the National Park Service. And then it's going to have to go from there, and then all the paperwork concerning that. So a lot of time will be involved with that if it has to go back. The extensions, we should not have to ask, since it may not be in a good look for future requests for extensions. I mean, there's a need, we got to ask. But again, it may not be a good look. With 2 LGGP grants on the books for CPRD, Rennie and Sanders, we will be unable to apply for more grant funds in the next grant cycle, which is always good to do if you can. The Land and Water Conservation Grant extension may or may not be approved, and it has to be returned back to the National Park Service for review, which I already stated. So in conclusion, these projects and others are only going to become more expensive due to inflationary considerations. I know that Sanders Park has been out there before I was on the board, over 6 years. Superintendent has the responsibility to hire this new position and not the board. So it'll be up to Don if he wants to do that. With that said, the board gave the go-ahead to staff to approve these grants as part of the board responsibility. So we are responsible to appoint board members. We've talked about the Sanders project, but specifically, I think, for too long, and need to get the park built and meet those grant deadlines. A planner, project manager will help with that. I think that we can afford that within our budget, but again, this is Don's decision. You could bring in folks outside that aren't on staff, but they have a habit of going into other projects, so consultants aren't always, going to be there for you. So we just need to move ahead, and I know that some of our staff have got other responsibilities they didn't know were going to come up, and they haven't been able to put 100% into it. So that's all I have to say about that. I don't know how the board feels.
Okay, Don, do you have any thoughts on this matter?
I don't disagree with anything, Jim. Everything he said is correct. The problem is, I would not recommend hiring a planner. The primary reason for that is by the time I hire someone, bring them up to date, I'll be farther behind rather than farther down the road. As it stands right now with Sanders Estate, I met with the consultants the other day. I talked with the city manager at the city of Dundee. They are shooting off the information to the city of Dundee planner. A lot of this we don't control. They control it, the city. I think by the time I bring a planner on, we'll have that project done. As a matter of fact, I insisted at the last time that this project must go out for bid by November at the latest. And they wanted to do it in December, and I said, no, I want it in November. The primary reason for November is you get better quotes from your contractors because they're lining up their work for the new year. I don't disagree with anything Jim said, but whoever the new superintendent, if they feel they need a planner, then hire them. I don't. It would put more workload on us right now than we already have. Hiring people is the biggest decision you make. If you rush it, you're doing the wrong thing. You need to make sure that the right person is on board. And I do not want to rush something like that. But the board, if you direct me, I'll do it. Otherwise, if you don't direct me, I won't do it.
With respect to costs, if we are paying for consultants or whatever per project, what's the cost like for that? Is that something that can even be predicted, or?
Even if you bring the planner on, you're going to pay for the consultants anyway. You may pay a little more for some of the projects, but then you've got a planner. When you bring a planner on, you're looking at close to $80,000 to $90,000 a year in salary, plus the benefits, which is probably $40,000. You're looking at $150,000 to $165,000. There's no way to get it any cheaper, and even then, people may not apply for that because every city is facing trying to hire planners. They can't find enough of them. I know that. I just don't want to mess with it. I'd rather just put my head down and go full steam and try to get through it. But that's my opinion. If the board feels different and you tell me to do it, I'll do it.
Okay, you had something to say?
So who was doing this work before?
It was mostly Casey, and I stepped in a couple of months ago. As you know, Casey got bypassed by the deal. Several things were dragging. I felt that some of the people we hired, they were not responding properly, in my opinion.
This is the golf course?
No, this was the like with the consultants
Oh,
with
okay.
Sanders Park. He was spending his time at the golf course, and which was very important to the district. And but he didn't have the time to put in, so I began to step in and do that. And assist him with that endeavor. That's why I know, like with Sanders Estate, will be okay. It's also not uncommon to ask for extensions. Jim, I remember you ran a couple of projects that we asked for extensions as well.
We did, but we never had a land and water conservation grant. That's a
had
different-
several land and
Well,
water
not while I
conservation
was-
grants.
I don't want to argue the point.
Yeah,
I mean, I brought up how I feel, and it's not just those that are there now. It's the other projects I talked about. But I don't want to argue the point. I know that
I
the
feel
board directed in the past that they wanted someone in the communication realm, and after going back and forth for a while, Kat was hired. So I said my piece, and I'll leave it to the board to think about it.
I love what you do, Dawn. I love how you are thrifty with everybody's money. I love that about you. I love that you want to take everything on. But I'm concerned that if something happened, we wouldn't have somebody to take over and run with this stuff. I think that we really should consider having somebody fill your shoes, or not fill your shoes, but fill Casey's shoes. Somebody who you can direct, and I realize it will take you a little bit of time to direct them, but I think that we're better off having somebody there, especially when we hire somebody that's gonna be able to work directly with a new person who will already have some knowledge as well. I mean, this was a full-time job that you did, Casey?
Yep.
If it's a full-time job, I don't know how the hell you can do your job and do somebody else's job. You're an amazing man, all right? You jog a
Well,
lot.
the-
I don't think that's enough.
We've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Yeah, and we'll get it done. Projects, the problem with projects is they come and go. You have 5 or 6 projects, then you'll have one. When we have one, there's no problem. You don't need it. But again, I believe we can do it. I'll do it. If I don't do it, I'm willing to stay on till it's done, but I know that it'll be done. I feel very confident that we'll be in construction and Sanders Estate will be underway. Now, remember, Sanders Estate is 3 phases. We presented it that way.
Have we ever had this many projects at one time going? That's another concern, all right?
Probably not as many as we have now, but we've had 2 or 3 or projects going on, different type projects, and we've grown. Brian is coming in. Julie's gonna work with us on the Rennie project. We haven't got the notice to proceed. That'll be done definitely on time. We're there, but again, I understand your situation.
Can you provide us, Dawn, with some kind of a matrix that shows us exactly what we need to do, when we need to have it done by, so that we can, if we don't do anything at this time, that we'll be able to say, okay, it looks like we're falling right into line, we're on schedule?
Well, I just gave it to you on the grants.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it, is that the only thing?
On the grants that are in process now.
Okay.
We have probably spent the 25%, Jim, with the planning and the soft cost already. Am I off base there?
No, you're on base.
And we'll be close to the 25. We'll bid it out this November, they'll start. I think the state or the feds will accept that. And we won't have it completed until probably, we're supposed to have it done by May, but it'll probably be,
November.
October, November of next year, we'll have it completed.
Okay, Gail or Lisa, do either of you have any thoughts or comments on this subject?
I have a question. Casey, do you have any, just wondering your take on it, since it seems like you're sharing this workload. Is it manageable with just the two of you, or is this a?
Yes, if I didn't have to spend 12 hours a day at the golf course, it would be a lot more manageable.
So you need backup.
But I'm
direction or the
helping
other?
Dawn, we meet, I kind of got him up to speed with the consultants and the city and all that process that was going on there. And it has been the city, and it's always been the city that kind of slowed things down. But Dawn's kind of riding it a little bit better than I can. And that's the whole thing. You have to keep banging on their doors.
Casey, how many hours are you putting in a week now?
My last 2 weeks, 155.
Not okay. Well, and I think though something that we all need to kind of consider right now, right? So we're not just gonna we're gonna be looking for a superintendent for Dawn, but in the meantime, we don't have a golf superintendent, and we just lost Russ, and those are huge shoes to fill, which is why Casey's working 155 hours in 2 weeks, which is so unhealthy, and I don't even know what to say. Even if you're going to hire temporarily, I think you need to get some relief. There's just too much work for too few people. So I think any way we can ease some of that pain would be a good thing.
Well, that's why Dawn has, mentioned Julie is going to take on a project. We certainly can do the Sanders project and get the Newburgh-Dundee bypass trail bridge put in as well. Those are
And
the
Brian
three
will
main
work
ones.
with us. We'll use Brian with the project over at Jaquith.
I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I don't think we need a lot of the staff working 155-hour weeks or 2 weeks, because they just, like, that makes me feel so bad that you're just going to give people who have a full-time job more work. I mean, Brian right now doesn't have Russ, so he's got to figure out somebody else to do all the trail stuff. All I'm saying is that you're short-staffed right now, and even if you hire temporarily, something's got to give, or you're going to have people leaving because they're going to be just dead.
Lisa, I've been here for 30-some years. we've always faced this. Always. It's never, Jim was part of it. It was never, what do you want me to do? It was, which one do you want me to do? That was the discussion. So, that's just the way of life. I'd like to have it perfect, but it's not.
But if you right now have space in your budget because you're missing two big people in that that have been doing a lot of this work, I mean, how is hiring for the golf superintendent coming along?
I've been speaking to a person that is interested and has been interested all along, but he doesn't feel comfortable leaving his job until October.
Casey, closer to the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and like most golf superintendents, they're not gonna change jobs in the middle of summer.
Right. Understand.
The other thing in Russ's position, I was talking with Casey today, I won't mention names, but met with people who want to move back to the area, and they have the expertise to do what we need. And but will they do it? I don't know. I know the type people they are, and I would hire them because they've worked for us in the past, and they're wanting to come back to the area. They know our situation, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think we've had quite a bit of discussion. So at this point, Donna's pretty clear if we as a board direct him, he will take the direction. So I'd say if anyone on the board wants to make a motion, now would be the time. Otherwise, I think we move on to our next agenda item.
My vote would be to, if Don and Casey think that they're on the verge of filling in their openings, then let Don do it as he wants. If
Is
those
that a
openings
motion?
don't get filled, it's just my comment.
Yeah.
So that's my
That's
reason
a
for not making a
non-motion.
motion.
Yeah.
Well, look, I trust you, Don, so if you think you can do this, let's see how it works between now and the next meeting, and we should revisit it again. And Casey, between now and then, if
Play more golf? Okay.
what's that? No, if you are just overworked or something and we need to make a change, then I guess you'll have to let us know.
Yep, I will. Jim talks to me about once a week about how much.
Excuse
time
me?
I'm working. Jim, you talk to me about once a week how much time I'm spending.
Well, hopefully it's not once a week, but my feeling is we need someone to bird dog this.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about the city and stuff and getting the city to do this and that. Well, you've got to stay on them, and we haven't had the folks that have had the time to stay on them
Yeah.
to get these projects done. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. And we have some short timelines here for these grants. So I'll make a motion for Dawn to research the hiring of a Parks Planner Project Management position.
I'll second the motion. Okay, motion's made and seconded. I know we've had quite a bit of discussion, but any other thoughts that anyone would like to add before we take a vote?
Well, I will just say that I do trust what Don says, but at the same time, I also believe that there's only so many hours in the day. So,
I do have a question as a member of staff, if
Yeah.
that's appropriate.
Yes.
If we were to hire this position, what happens to the existing pyramid that we have right now with a superintendent, assistant superintendent, two supervisors?
I
that would
think,
be dependent upon Don.
I don't think that's something that we would be able to manage. That would be part of the hiring process, and the superintendent would have
So
to.
that line item would stay in the budget?
Okay, so motion's made and seconded. I'm gonna go ahead and call for a vote on the motion at hand. All those in favor of directing staff to, I guess, begin the search or develop a plan for a project planner position. Is that accurate?
Yeah, planner, project manager.
Okay, project manager, okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And Lisa, what was your vote? I don't know if I saw.
Aye.
Aye, okay. So that would be,
I'm sorry I didn't get Gail's vote.
I believe you said nay,
I think I'm opposed, yeah.
opposed. So that's 4 aye with 1 opposed.
Got it.
Okay. So continuing the gym show here.
Yeah, the
You
gym
got-
show's gonna end really quick.
You got our next item, Board of Directors Training.
Yeah, so the state is going to have a mandated Board of Directors training happening after the first of the year. It was supposed to be before that, but they've extended it. But I would challenge all of our board members to take this SDAO training, best practices online public meeting training. And the reason I would challenge them to do that is because if we take the training, which doesn't take a lot of time, maybe an hour or two, then we get 2% off of our SAO insurance costs.
Insurance, yeah.
So I'm trying to save the district money and yet challenge the board to do this. So I'm going to ask Kat if she could get to our members, our board members, this information on how they can get it online as far as the vector group
Yeah.
through SDAO.
Sorry, Jim, I don't have that. I wouldn't be the appropriate person, but you could just direct staff in general, and we can get it to the right person to make that happen.
So who's the right person?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know? Was it Casey?
What's the question?
Well, it's called Vector Solutions that SDAO works with. It's one of their contractors that we would have to go through to do the class. I could call them and find out and get it back to the board.
They have online stuff all the
Yeah,
time.
they have on.
I will call SDAO myself and take care of it.
And you'll email the board.
We will,
And I'll email everyone.
we'll call SDO not only on the superintendent search, but on this too, and then go ahead and get that all set up.
Yeah, I just figured that it'd be a good challenge for us to get that done by the end of, let's say, by the next board meeting. And, yeah, I might even bring cookies like Don, so we'll get you that information. And save the district a little bit of money.
Okay. Sounds good. Next, we have adoption of the proposed master plan for Bob and Crystal Riley Park, and this is the final vote on that after the multiple readings, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I'll open up for any discussion that the board may want to have on this subject. Okay, seeing none, I'll make a motion. Yep.
Was anything in the draft plan changed for the final master plan?
Yeah, there were a few minor changes to the,
Minor changes?
yeah, based on our prior discussions.
It was discussed at the meeting that you were at.
And then reread
Yeah.
at the last meeting as well.
There were
So,
discussions, but were there changes?
yes,
Were.
yep. And then reread after that, yeah. I will make a motion to adopt the proposed master plan for Bob and Crystal Riley Park.
I have a question, Bill. I was looking for the changes that were made on the website, and I couldn't find any. I couldn't find the final version that you're voting on right now. It's not in here, it's not in the packet, nor is it on the website.
We included that, I think, in the reading at the last meeting, right? It was just, I think, only a couple small sections regarding the, was it obstacle course and potential arena, I think, placement. Those were the additions, so.
I will second it.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion by the board? Okay, all those in favor of the motion to adopt the proposed master plan for Crystal Riley Park? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay?
Nay.
Okay. That's 3 ayes and 2 nays. Did you get that, Kat?
Yes, Lisa and
And
Jim are dissenting.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, Ewing Young Park Bridge process and options. Actually, I don't know how staff wants to handle this. We received a pretty detailed write-up from district council
Steve?
regarding the plan. Obviously, he's not here tonight. Let's see if we can open that. Did it, yeah?
Can we go ahead and move this to when he's here, because I have some questions for him? And so I would really rather not go through this if he's not here to answer those questions.
I can ask him to attend. He called me, and I guess if you want to continue with this, the main question is, with all that we've got going, do we want to address this immediately? If so, I'll have him at the next meeting.
Well, I think it's something that we've been talking about for a very long time, and it looks like from the proposal that he made, that he would do the majority of the work for it in the first place. Granted, it may end up being that it, in the order of all the projects that are going on, may take a little bit longer, but getting this piece of it so we have access to that property in a way that is appropriate, I think is really important. And this is a precursor to anything being able to happen. So I would say that I wouldn't, yeah, if you can have him come to the next meeting, I would really appreciate him being able to answer a couple of questions for me to be able to vote intelligently.
All right. Well, how about if we just table this, and I'll put it on the next agenda and have him here?
I think the only concern I have with tabling is some of this, he does recommend moving forward relatively quickly for various reasons. So I don't know if it's something we want to delay another month.
You can call a special session just for this one item.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna take a couple years to do what he's suggesting. I know he's had consultations with the county, but it has to go through the commissioners, and they've been doing this whole thing for.
Closer to the mic, Casey.
They've been going about all these transportation facility questions since 2018, so it may take a while.
Okay. Any other thoughts on tabling this versus addressing it today?
Well, if any of our board members have a concern on this, probably should sit down and talk to the lawyer, I guess it sounds like to me, so.
Okay. So having him attend the meeting, obviously there's an expense to that, but it sounds like,
We should do it at the next regular meeting.
yeah, I'd say regular meeting. I definitely don't think doing a special meeting
Can we
is
do it by Zoom?
warranted.
We can do it by
He
Zoom.
can be on Zoom.
And
But-
we'll do that.
But we'll be able to be here.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause I don't do so.
Yeah, I think we give him the option of Zoom
Yeah.
versus attending. He may prefer
Yeah.
to be here in person, I know.
We'll give him the
I would-
option.
Yeah.
He can
Prefer
decide.
Not to do Zoom.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we will move this one to September. Okay, next agenda item, Chehalem Heritage Trail Citizens Advisory Committee discussion. So terms have expired for that committee, so we have to discuss, is that a committee we want to renew? Send out notice for new set of applications and so forth. So I'll just
I think,
begin there and then let's discuss.
I think there's great value in this group, and I think that we should continue having a Heritage Trails Committee. I mean, I think these guys do a great job, and their hearts are in trails, and I think they put a lot of time and effort in the past, and if they would like to continue that, I'd love to have them.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm all into volunteering. I think it's really important. And I know that the folks who are on that committee, got a lot of people that live in Newburgh, at least the year before last, working on those trails. And I thought that was important. So I'd recommend that we advertise that, like we do the other committees, and go forward.
Now, do we have a specific set of number for how large we want the committee to be?
So generally what happens is it begins with 5 and with an option of 2 out of the district. And after that, it is up to the board to change that. You can certainly change that to begin with, but that's generally the starting structure.
Okay, so 5 and then 2 at large type of, is that?
It doesn't mean that you have to have 2 at large.
Correct.
You may have 2 at large.
Just we
So
advertise
you
and
could
open for
have
that.
all 5
Right.
in district.
Yeah,
But the option is 2 of them may be.
okay.
And I have to say that the amount of work that those folks did, especially not just the trail work, but also putting in the survey that they did, that gave a lot of information to the district and this superintendent, the next superintendent, how the community feels. And I thought that was great work, and we had some people that were very talented with GIS and so on and so forth to do the mapping as part of that group, which we would have paid a lot of money for. So speaking for myself, I've really appreciated what they've done up there and what they've done for other trails, and I know that some of them would like to look at other areas we have too. So I'd like to move on this, and
I'll second it. If
Well,
that's
it
an
sounds like we have consensus from the board, you know,
Good with
with reopening applications for just like you said, 5 and 2 at large. I think makes perfect sense to go forward. Okay.
Excuse
Yes.
me, we do have a motion on the table, though, so we should either rescind the motion or continue with the voting of the motion.
can you repeat the motion?
The motion is to reopen the Committee for Chehalem Heritage Trail Citizens Advisory Committee for 5 members plus 2 out of district.
Do we need a second on that, or a motion saying that?
So I did hear a director say there was a motion. So do you want to rescind the motion, or do you just want to go forward with the motion? We generally do the motions.
That was Director Fields who
Right.
made the motion. Would you like to rescind
I'll
that?
second.
No.
Okay.
I'll second.
So we're gonna second that, and then we'll go ahead and take a vote. All those in favor of the motion as so stated?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay.
Excuse me, Matt. I have a quick question. How will that process be available if somebody wants to apply?
Staff advertises it publicly on the website, I believe also social media, and then they'll provide the applications with all the information. So should be readily available. And then is that something we'll have closed before the next meeting typically?
Right. We'll have a date determined by the end of next week, and it'll be posted on the website and online.
Yeah. So we'll make sure the information gets out. Yep. Okay, next is the Golf Course Clubhouse Development Citizen Advisory Committee. We decided we had an even number. I think it was 8 on the committee, and we wanted to take, or 6 on the committee, and we wanted to take more applications in order to get an odd number. I know there was a golf meeting last night, so I'm gonna go ahead and toss that out to those who were
So
there.
we've actually got a few more people that want to be on this committee, and then a young lady that was in the audience was also interested in it. So, and then we've got Don Loving, he would like to join this, and you know what, I say the more the merrier. So,
Don Living would like to not be on the committee, but he would like to attend.
well, he can attend then. But I still say more the merrier. If we want to have people that want to be part of these committees, I just think that, you know, the more people, the more better ideas that we get. I think it's a good idea. So I don't want to turn anybody away if we can keep from it. So.
I agree. And I would say that, does that also apply then to all committees?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, there could be reasons to turn somebody away.
No, I was just wondering because we were just saying 5 and 2, and here we're saying 8 or however many we want.
Sure,
And so I
well-
just wanted for consistency that if we're going to allow as many people who want to be on a committee to be on a committee.
I don't think that we were limiting the number of people that were going to be on the Heritage Trails Committee. I think that's just
Okay.
the starting point.
Yeah,
If that's true, then I'm good with that. That's fine.
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
I disagree. I do think we need to have a number of people on the committee, and especially voting members. We decided at the last meeting that we wanted odd numbers, so if there is disagreements, there's a clear way to tally votes. So
I would agree with that.
so I think we had, was it 3 applications for the golf committee? Are any of the applicants here tonight?
Could I make a
Yeah.
suggestion?
Yep.
As we've seen in some of the other committees, if you get a lot of people on a committee, at times, people drop off and are disappointed because they don't have a say or they're pushed out. And usually, in the committees that I've seen, it's usually the few that do the work of the many. And if you get too many ideas and too many people on there, sometimes that can be difficult. So with that said, I just put my 2 cents in there.
What's your recommendation, Jim? What's a good number?
Well, I think, you know, when you're looking at, let's say the applications that are here right now, and I look at the 3 applications, and I don't know these people, but I look at one that basically says he's a professional civil engineer, he's done stuff with, in fact, he's worked with one of the companies that's done traffic work for us as far as, you know, projects. So I look at folks that have experience in different things, because it's gonna take, you know, that type of help to get this golf course. And if we can get some of these folks who can give us free professional advice and they're on the committee, that's always helpful.
I tend to agree with Jim that there is such a thing as too many,
Yep.
but I don't know what that number is.
Yeah, and these are public meetings, so people can attend.
Right.
But I do believe there has to be clear rules as to who's a voting member, or else it can descend into chaos.
If I can make a suggestion, usually the number is either 5, 7, 9, or 11. Based on what I'm hearing, is 9 is what I would probably recommend in this case. Then you have not only the 9, you have the board members, or like Don Loving will also be on there. So that would be my suggestion. You currently have 6, if I remember correctly. So you would appoint 3. I would go ahead in the next meeting, appoint 3 additional members. And
Well, we have
Yeah, we have
3,
three right
we
now.
have 3 applicants right now, so we could either appoint one of the 3 or all 3.
right, you could do whatever you want.
My suggestion would be to appoint 1, as we previously discussed, and have total of 7. But obviously, that's just my opinion. I don't know if there are any other.
I'd just like to say, whatever we do it consistently amongst everybody. That's my only, so if it's 7, it's 7, if it's 9, it's 9, but I think we need to make sure that it's consistent for all of the committees, that we're not making different amounts for different committees. Whether people apply for it or not, you may only have 3 or 5, right? But if we say that this is the standard that we're going to go by, that's, I think, what would be really helpful. And given what Pat has just said, it's 5 too, right? So that's 7. But if we want to do 9, all I'm saying is that if we're going to do the Trails Committee, or we're going to do Pickleball Committee, or we're going to do whatever other committee, that it should have the same number, whatever we're doing.
Hey, Don, how many do we have on the Heritage Trails Committee right now?
There was 17 to begin with. 18? And
Wow.
It dwindles. Like Jim said, that people lose interest, they don't have a say, or they just lose interest. And
How many do we have currently today?
Hang on, let me look at that. We have
I think there's about 9.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
10.
10. And we started with 18.
But again, if people want to attend those meetings, they're open to the public and they can provide information at those meetings too.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't mean they need to be on the committee. But
Is this board, I'm just asking you guys, are you guys prepared to vote for one of these 3 if we only have 7?
Yeah, that was the plan that we had
Okay.
discussed previously, and that's what I support. I don't think this committee should be larger than 7. I think,
you want to make a motion then?
yeah, I'll make a motion to appoint one more member as previously discussed, and that member that I would like to appoint is Tony Roos to the Chehalem Glen Golf Course Clubhouse Committee.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any more discussion on this?
So that means that going forward, all committees, the maximum number of members will be 7.
No,
Correct.
we're just
no?
talking about this.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But, well, why? Like, I'm sorry, but I don't understand. If you're gonna, why are you limiting this if you're gonna say 18 people can be on a Trails Committee, or 14, or let me do 17 people on a Trails Committee, or 13 people on something else? Why are you limiting this one if you're not gonna limit the others? We were just talking about the Chehalem Trails, and they all have to be reappointed anyway, right? I'm just saying, I feel like you're gonna have such an inconsistency that people are like, oh, you don't like this one, or you like this one, and I just feel like it's gonna cause problems if we're not just being consistent.
We're only addressing the action item at hand, so, and it was based on the discussions we had at the prior board meeting. So I'm not addressing everything in the future or anything in the past, just this motion specifically to the Clubhouse Committee. Any other discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion to appoint Tony Roos to the Golf Course Clubhouse Advisory Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Okay?
Okay. Okay, next we have contract construction of pickleball courts at Jakewood Park.
I gave you a contract for the deal. I'd recommend that you approve both of those from NV5. This will speed up the process and we can begin. If you notice, there's a table there, and we'll have those built by next year.
Don, question from a contracting standpoint. Do we already have them on retainer with something
Yes.
else? Because usually if it's over $10,000, we need to get 3, but they're already on retainer with us?
Yep.
They're already with the retainer, and this we would do is just make this part of their process.
Okay.
And would you clarify exactly what part we're talking about being done by next year?
The resurfacing of the 4 tennis courts and the development of the 6 pickleball courts.
So those 6 pickleball courts will be in.
Yes.
And included in this also is adjusting the parking area And, or is that?
We're gonna
are we-
try and circumvent that a
Right,
little bit.
we're gonna try to and we think we can, but.
When you
we-
say that, like, staff does that, we do that internally
Yes.
and, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. But it's generally part of the same.
It's part of a
project.
land use thing, and
Yes.
there's
Understood.
plenty
Okay.
of parking there now.
Since this is under discussion, I know that Don and I think Casey and the consultant met out there with the pickleball committee, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that. I don't know if you were there or not, but
I wasn't, but I got,
but the feedback that I got, they were very pleased about how things were going to be moving ahead, and also I realize it's going to be phased, so the covered part of it, and I think they realize may not be right away, but you're putting in the footings and so on and so forth for that.
Well, we're leaving the space for it and designing a preliminary type design, yes.
Because I know that's going to be another planning
Right.
issue down, and you might
That'll
want to
be
talk to them
phase
about
two.
that's our next phase, so they give you the right information, so we're not. The only thing that I know, and you know about this property, Don, it used to be swampy, blue clay, ugly. Are we going to do any geotech work out there to make sure that
We
will
did the
support?
geotech work on the tennis court, Jim.
Okay, well, I wasn't involved at
And-
that time.
When you consider those tennis courts, those are 30 years old. They've held up pretty good for a 30-year-old tennis court.
I just know that land right next to the tennis courts that you're going to put these pickleball courts in, it's pretty squishy. So I'm sure that the consultant will take a look at that anyway.
They know. I
Okay.
mentioned that to them, so.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So, we need to make a motion that allows us to move forward with NV5's contract.
You need to authorize me to sign the contract.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I have one more question. We are still definitely talking about keeping the horseshoes. Is that,
Yes.
that's part of the, and that's
Yes.
part of the contract?
Well, no,
Okay.
they just stay there.
Okay.
Not all of them, but some of them, right?
Well, all of them.
Okay,
We're not touching that area.
okay.
Okay, so future plans that may or may not affect the horseshoes are not affected by this contract?
Right.
Okay. Okay, Lisa, I think you were beginning to make a motion on this one?
I just said so moved. He said, yes, I move that we give Don the authorization to enter into a contract with NB5 for the pickleball courts and resurfacing of the tennis courts at Jakeworth Park.
A second?
Question?
Okay.
Could I add to that, not to exceed 77,000? No, that's wrong. Forget it.
Yes.
My mistake.
Okay. Motion made and second. Any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, we'll make we will vote on the contract with NV5 to be executed by superintendent. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed? Okay. Okay, next we have reports and comments from board members. I'm gonna start with you, Jim, since,
I think you should start with Gail. No, okay. No, two things really quick. I know the public had commented to me about striping of the parking lots, and they were striped and they look great, and thank you, staff, for doing that. And also the area behind the Crater Park there. Russ just did a great job, and correct me if I'm wrong in saying that, Brian, that he cleared that all out, and it looks really nice back there, and you might have a path from that subdivision over to Crater Ball Field, so it looks really good.
okay, you're next.
Well, I'm looking forward to having my first chance to use our golf course. I've never been on it before, but it looks like next Wednesday we'll have a pretty big tournament there. So looking forward to that. I do have a question, Dawn. The Friends Park deal where we were going to swap some of the property around, did we do that? I mean, that was approved, right?
Yes, but
I don't
As-
think anything's been done, though.
Nothing's been done as of today.
Is there, what are we, I'm just curious what we're waiting on.
The county, the city, and the applicant.
Okay. All right, that's it. I got nothing else.
Okay.
Okay, I wanted to comment on the changes up at Riley Park, the driveway, kind of parking area where the trailers come in. It's been redone. Some excavation was done. I believe that was Russ. Also, reopening of the cistern trail was done. And porta potty was also placed in that parking area. And all very good upgrades. And I've heard a lot of positive feedback on that. So very happy, and was going to thank Russ personally, and fortunately didn't have the ability to do that. So that's all I have.
I have one comment from the community about that moms who go to the pool with their kids have to pay to sit and watch, and they don't like that.
Why would we do that, Dawn?
What's that?
Why would we charge mothers who take their children to the pool? Why would we charge the mothers who are not using the pool? Are we doing that?
I believe the policy has been for years, certain ages, they're required to have an adult with them.
9 and
Am I
under, you have to
correct,
be in the
Jim?
water.
Correct. 6 and under.
That's
9 and under.
correct.
9 and under, you
Is
have
it
to be
9
in
under
the
state
water.
law now?
Well,
9 under rules here.
I don't know if it's state law or not. Just, somebody told me that she was tired of paying to go sit and watch her kids. So she's like, bring that up at the meeting, so I brought it up at the meeting. 10 and under, you have to be present. 9 and under, you have to be in the water with them. That's what I was told. I have an 8-year-old, so I'm
And they might have
paying
changed it
attention.
since I was involved, but I think a lot of times it's they're charged because they get in the water with them, and a lot of the pools, you know, they're just making it even for everyone. So you might want to have Wendy respond to that and find out the facts on that.
Wendy and Julie, yeah.
Yeah, and I would just like to say, as a parent myself, look, if you're in the pool, guarantee you she's not doing laps while her 10 or 9 and
Well, I
younger
think
person.
if you get in the pool, to me, that's legit.
But-
But if you're sitting there watching with a,
Do you have to be in the pool with the
if
9
for a
and
9 and
younger?
under, you would have to be in the
Well,
pool.
so that's what I'm saying. If you're required to be in the pool and you have a young child, I don't know if we should charge them for that.
Well, let's just
Well,
let's
it's
have them
another
look into
user
the
app.
policy and let us
Yeah.
let us know what the policy is, just state law.
We'll do it.
You know, and then we can
And the reasoning.
decide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Lisa, do you have any comments?
I do. So on September 7th, the Cultural Center is going to open the theater. And the Cultural Center would like to invite, I think Jim already has his invitation, but all of you on the board and Dawn to come to it's called Moonshot. So it's on September 7th. I think it starts, I don't know, I will get the details. I think Kat has the invitations for you there. And so I'm hoping that you'll all be able to join. It's a pretty exciting time for the Cultural Center. It's there's only one small space that isn't going to be completed once this is done. If you haven't been in the Cultural Center, it's looking pretty awesome with the stairwell that goes upstairs, and now the whole building will be used, which is, I think, incredibly exciting. And the ability for people to bring in new and different types of programs, and whether it's acting or singing or presenting or whatever, it's just and that it's the central school. It's where everybody went to school when they were little, and they kept I think it's called the Proscenium, but I don't know enough about theater to know. But around the stage, they kept the one that was from the old central school, and it's looking really phenomenal. So I'm hoping at the very least you can come in and see what it looks like. So September 7th.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the invite.
Yeah.
Okay. Pickleball Committee, you have something to share with us?
Yeah, Nick Conan with the Pickleball Committee. Nothing really to share. It's just it had been a while since we met. We finally got back together and just wanted to kind of do an update. Largely what we discussed was the meeting that it was at the time leading up to with Don and Casey. And yeah, I will reiterate, I wasn't able to make that meeting, but I spoke to some of the advisory committee members, and they were very pleased with the meeting and really appreciated you guys and everyone asking for input, and everybody felt really heard. So we really appreciate that. We also just really appreciate moving ahead with this project. We think it is going to be awesome, and we do hope that it is set up that in a phase 2 we could put a cover and some lights on there. It's definitely something that would be important to us. So then the other thing we wanted to discuss is with this project sort of, in the works moving forward, and us having a little bit less to discuss at our meetings on a monthly basis, we were hoping to move to more of an as-needed basis as a monthly base instead of a monthly basis, if that would be all right. And we hope that, as needed means whenever you, staff, or anything comes up, trust me, we'll take any excuse to talk about pickleball. But I think Julie might be tired of hearing about it when, we don't need to be meeting every month.
I'd say as needed, but at least I think every
Quarterly.
quarter.
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
quarter. Because
Yeah.
if it's less than that,
Yeah.
then it disappears. And then if we
Mhm.
if they don't want a committee,
Absolutely.
that-
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to make sure there's some sort of a
Yeah.
schedule.
No, I totally agree with that, and and just want to reiterate, we love being able to give our input at the last meeting, and we hope that continues. And we spend a lot of time thinking about and playing pickleball, so we totally understand the concept. The other thing, let me see here on my notes. And then just a reminder with that, I think most of our terms on the pickleball reminded me on the pickleball committee are going to be up in October. So sounds like it's just a reapplication process.
Yep.
But awesome. Well, that's all I've got for the update. And so thank you guys for moving ahead with that project, and we're really excited.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I believe no report from the Trails Committee is my understanding. And Golf Clubhouse Committee, I know we discussed, two of you attended the meeting. I don't know if there's anything that they gave to us to
They're
share
I
specifically.
mean, we've got some really good people on that committee, and they're looking to change the dates of their meetings so they
Yep.
can give us information. ahead
More
of
middle
time.
of the month, so they have
This
time.
guy brought that up at the meeting.
Yeah.
And and that's a good thing. And they have a survey and so on. And I asked them if they're going to survey out there that they need to run it by staff,
Okay.
first.
Mhm.
I don't know if we need to approve it or not, but I want to make sure that it's appropriate, whatever survey you put out to the public, if they're representing the park district.
Right. Yeah, I think staff definitely is the gatekeeper for that. So. Okay.
That'll
And then,
probably end up in Kat's hands.
and then will staff is aware that they want to reschedule it, so there's more time before our meeting.
We're already working with
Okay,
them on that.
gotcha. Okay. There we go. Superintendent's report.
I was going to mention about Russ. Russ is the second employee that we've lost on the job. Russ was on the job when he passed away, we believe.
We believe.
It's still to be determined, but anyway, I went to talk with the wife, and she reminded me that she had called me years ago, and I had forgotten. She was highly upset. Russ had not come home, and he was working at the golf course. And she called me frantically, and I went out to the golf course to try to find him, because I was worried that he had gotten hurt by a piece of equipment or something. So anyway, I finally found him and told him, I said, Russ, you've got to call your wife. She's hysterical. You know, she thinks something's happened to you. And he looked at his watch and he said, oh my God, it's late. He was so busy working that he forgot about the time. And so he called and she reminded me of that. But Russ will be missed. The other thing is we were very fortunate because Russ was probably the premier trail builder in the state. I believe, I have no doubt about that. Him and his dad built, and I still have the film, they built on cliffs. I'm talking about straight cliffs where they had the tractor basically anchored to the cliff because it would fall off as they made roads up it. I mean, it was unbelievable what they did and how they did it. But they built hundreds and thousands of trails. But again, Russ will definitely be missed. As far as the retirement, I mentioned to the staff at the last staff meeting that we had that I would be retiring, to tell the board if you get in the selection process, you don't feel good about the selections, you want to redo it, I'm not going to leave the district till you find a replacement. So I'll be here with you. That much I owe. I remember speaking of the golf course and the cultural center, I remember Mike McBride, he'll probably hate me for saying this, but Mike was a board member and Mike told me we'll never get the cultural center built and we'll never build a golf course. Just like we discussed tonight, we got it done. It took longer than we planned, but I think if we had not taken the time, it would not have turned out as well as it had, and we may not have been able to do it. There are certain things in projects that come up that require time. We don't control, if you could just go out and build it, it'd be one thing, but you can't. You have to go through the process. You have to set up the building. For instance, with the project, the only thing that we don't know right now would be PGE. They could throw a record in our process. If PGE throws that in, my intent is to separate out the external from the street and do the internal so that we have most of the work done for the grant, because the grant won't pay for the street work anyway. So if we get into that situation, which we might, that's our plan of action right now, and I think we can get the city of Dundee to go along with us on that. So that will be the deal. The cultural center, I mean, when we started, we had no money and we had no ideas. Everybody wanted to say the building, but nobody knew how. And look at it today and look at what it's doing in the community and how much it's done. The community has invested probably $11 to $13 million into that facility. That's unbelievable. And again, without the community, it wouldn't have been done. And all the projects, the community has always invested huge amounts of money. With the Sanders Estate project, Jan gave quite a bit I don't know.
Approximately 250,000.
Yeah, and she'll probably give more before we're through with everything. But it's a great gift to the community. And again, we did get the grant for Rennie project, and we'll hopefully in September get the word to start that we can go. When we get that word, we're already getting ready. That project will be cooking, and we'll probably get it completed before the deadline.
Now, you're kind of glossing over the Rennie grant. That's a significant grant, right?
That's correct. The Rennie grant was about $1 million. Is that correct, Jim?
It's 1 million.
Yeah. It's 1 million that we got from state grant. Many years ago, I guess it was in the 90s, there was a proposal. We met in Portland. I was one of probably 15 directors across the state that met in Portland. The idea was to get lottery money to fund parks. That was going to be very difficult because we had to go through the legislature to get that approved. At the same time, state parks wanted to join us because they wanted to have lottery funding to run the state parks. What we did at that time was we agreed to a certain amount sharing, and then after that, it sunset. And when it sunset, we went back to the voters again, and it passed overwhelmingly. It passed pretty much all over the state for the lottery funds. In the second session, we got more money allocated. But the way the allocation went was it only kicked in at a certain level. The state, to their credit, they've tried to stop us from getting that money that we agreed to. When I say that we agreed to and they tried to stop us, they wanted to use it for other things, but that was the local grant money, not for state parks, but the local grant. And so far, that's held up. And we've been part of that all through the process. As a matter of fact, Jim has served on it. I served on it years ago, and we'll probably have other people serve on the selection committee. But again, and I want to thank Brian and his staff. He's doing a tremendous job in the parks. They're looking better and better every day. Everything is looking good. Casey is working, like he said, to get the golf course back. It's not totally back yet. I think Casey would agree with that, but it's very close. It didn't get that way overnight, and it's not going to be back overnight. But we're getting a lot of compliments, and a lot of people are pleased with what's going on. So that's it.
Okay. Casey, do you have anything?
Not much more than what I've already said about all the projects and things like that. Golf course is busy, and it's like tournament time. Tournament after tournament after tournament. And I guess Jason will be there next Wednesday. He called me, let me know, or asked if he could bring his gator out on the golf course. For sure.
And I was there last weekend, and the golf course is looking great.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. So, good
No,
work.
everyone's enjoying it. I heard a few comments even today that
Yeah.
people are real happy with the golf course. So it's
Good
not
work.
perfect, but it's getting better.
It's good to have you back there.
Yeah, and thanks for all you're doing, Casey.
Yeah.
We know you're working hard.
Thank you.
Okay, Brian, you have anything?
Not really, just losing my report or whatever, but, yeah. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, and we're working hard. That's what we're here for. We're lucky to do what we do.
And we've been getting a lot of great feedback, not just at Riley Park, but also Jake with. I think we got a couple emails in there, and I've heard a lot of positive feedback on the new paved trail areas and everything else. So yeah, it's lots of positive. So good work. And on that, I think we're done. I will adjourn.
Oh, wait.
Nope.
Wait. One last thing. The city of Dundee asked us to comment.
Oh, mushrooms.
Right. If I've never commented when they've asked us to, I wanted to bring it to the board and I put it under correspondence. I don't see why we would object to anything.
What are we commenting on? I'm sorry.
It was part of the board packet.
Really?
Yeah, this side with some stuff.
It was page 115.
Does our comment, it's just a legal requirement that they ask, right?
Yeah.
We can't, I mean, I can say no, but doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'll say no, it doesn't matter.
So if I say no, with the understanding they'll move the project quicker, would that help? Or yes? The
Well,
Sanders
they
project- I'm
asked the
just kidding.
district or the board what they wanted.
Oh, I
So
see.
you as a board would have to decide. I think it's a city of Dundee decision.
Oh, I just read it, I see what they're talking about. Okay,
Yeah.
here it is.
I just wanted to make sure we covered it.
Okay.
I think it's covered.
All
Okay,
right.
I'll adjourn.